I'm Tom Salta. I'm a composer, producer, songwriter, and artist from New York. Most of what I do now is composing for video games, doing film trailers, titles such as the Halo franchise, Tom Clancy franchise, Prince of Persia, Red Steel, Wolfenstein, PUBG Battlegrounds, and most recently Deathloop. You know, video game music is so unique in that I think the easiest way to explain it is like you're making musical Lego blocks. So some of them are meant to connect one piece to the next, and some of them are meant to be on top of each other. It's like you're scoring a backdrop of the emotion that you want the player to feel doing that activity. Okay, you're scoring to possibility. So every time I start something new, I always feel like, what do I do? That blank slate is terrifying. What do I do? And then you start to realize, yeah, I always say that and I always do it. So I started to pay attention. What's actually going on here? And I started to notice a pattern. Now I pretty much have identified this kind of multi-phase, 5-phase process that I go through. And I think a lot of creatives do, whether willingly or not. So for me, the first part of any project, Deathloop or anything else, is to intentionally hold back and absorb. So much of the creative process is what you take in, not what you put out. And I think as creatives, and we're so anxious to be like, okay, I got hired yesterday, I got to start generating music. I got 2 months, let's see, I got an hour to do, that's 5 minutes a day, and I got to start 5 minutes. No, it's not, no, that's not the way it works. The real way it works is to take that 10% of the time and to stop and to think and to be inspired and to listen to other music, to watch movies. You know, we are so focused on just exporting everything, output. But if I were to just breathe out all day, I'd die, right? You have to breathe in and out. And I think a lot of us forget about the breathing in part. So that's what I do first. The second thing I do, back to that little kid in the sandbox, I allow myself to play. Just like I did when I was a kid, when I had my first synthesizer. Just go around and start playing around with sounds and experimenting with ideas. And I'll do that for days, weeks, it depends on how much time I have for the whole thing. And what's really funny about it is that more times than not, some of the best ideas come from that part. So I have now all this kind of time to, go through my toys, start gathering sounds, say, oh, I like this and I like this, put it in my little satchel, so to speak. So then I'll start by dipping the toe in the water. For me, that's the third phase. I'll start picking and choosing some moments that I feel like, I can do that. That for sure is gonna work. Build a little confidence, get a little momentum going. After that, fourth phase for me is picking and choosing the big, important parts. Whether it's that theme or whether it's that, climax, that ending, that boss battle. And, when you have all that leading up to that process, it's so much easier. A lot of us try to start there. And I've learned the hard way, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. You can get it done, but it won't be the most inspired, and it certainly won't be the most fun and fluid and natural. And then after that, really the fifth phase for me is, at that time, I'm not even really composing. By that time, I'm just assembling music. In a video game, like Deathloop, that's where I'll do the stingers. That's where I'll do the cutscenes. And I'm able to kind of just fill it all in, all that stuff. And it's just like,
And the Game Award goes to Deathloop.
The music is what creates the emotion of an experience. I think the music is the emotional dimension. And I think that's what really changed from the early days of the bleeps and bloops to now. And maybe that's why I decided to get into it.